One thing that you've done that I really have a lot of admiration for is you've built a community of super engaged people, over 6,000 members on Facebook, I believe. Um, and there are like literally dozens of people posting every single day. So can you tell us what brought you to that point of creating the community based around your website?
Yeah, so the community came a bit later. I started with the blog, and I kind of got a handle on that, I guess you could say. The first several months of blogging, it was a little bit of trying this and trying that, seeing what stuck, seeing what kinds of content people enjoyed. And then after that, I'm trying to recall the exact timeline. I think it was a bit over a year later, I decided to start the Facebook group. And the reason was I had heard this quote somewhere. I'm not sure where it originated from, and a lot of people will use it, I believe. People come for the content, but stay for the community. So I was like, how can I, take this beyond just the blog and actually have people communicate amongst one another? So like have my readers communicate with each other and help each other out, especially with something like learning how to code, which can be a really frustrating and challenging and oftentimes very, very lonely undertaking. So when I first began the group, I made the issue of not telling, or it was kind of a problem because I didn't tell enough people about it. The early months, it grew quite slowly, but then once I kind of began promoting it more, it began to grow very quickly. In some ways, almost too quickly, because there's been times, especially having a full-time job and all these other responsibilities, that it's hard to manage the group. And I think anyone with a large Facebook group can attest to that it can be difficult at times to keep a handle on it.
Okay, so going back to the first couple of months with your group, how did you find, let's call it the first 100 or so members? Where'd they come from?
So like, I'm laughing now because I don't think this was like a very good idea, but initially I would just kind of invite like my friends. And when I say friends, I really mean like online friends. So not my friends in real life, but people I met through Learn to Code with me, like people who have been reading the blog, or maybe they were doing similar kinds of blogging online. And I just like personally through email or on Facebook, invite them. So and at that point I had the blog for over a year already. So it very quickly got to 50 people. But when it started to like truly take off is when I added it to my email list. And so with my email list, I have like an automation or workflow or whatever word you want, drip campaign, that when you first sign up, you go through. And I added an email about the Facebook group to that workflow. I use ConvertKit, and I believe that's the right word for those workflows. And so then it's kind of automated, and then people just began trickling in themselves over time.
Okay, so how were people, I guess, finding your content on your blog and eventually joining your email list?
Yeah, so no, that's sort of like the process, right? Like people come to the blog, they sign up for the email list, and then they go to the group. Caveat, when your group gets bigger on Facebook, they'll start recommending it. So there's definitely people today in Newbie Coder Warehouse who've like never been to the blog, or maybe I mentioned it someplace else that I wrote. Like I know I mentioned it in a Skill Crush article, for instance. So they could have come just from Skill Crush to the group and just going past the blog and the email list. However, how I get most people to the blog, tons of my traffic actually comes through Google. And aside from that, like the most quality traffic and people I'd say like readers I build relationships with comes from writing on other sites.